Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the DCKAP eSessions 2021. This is the one for March. We're going to have a special showcase for Midland Scientific and all the work that went behind that, including some of the technology partners that were integrated into the e-commerce site. My name is Tim Deep. I'm the host for today. I'm the customer success manager for DCKAP. Been with the company for about 8-9 years now, and just been leading events on a monthly basis ever since COVID happened, which has been over a year now. And we've really taken the advantage of just really hosting these events online rather than on site now. So today we have a really good session, and hopefully you guys are able to take lots of notes and enjoy. I'd like to thank our sponsors for this event. These are the guys that you'll be hearing later today with a short presentation. So we have Midland Scientific, we have Avalara, we have Nexus, Magento, and DCKAP Flores. Next, I'd like to bring up Gary Smith from Nexus. He's a strategic partner development manager at Nexus. He's worked in the e-commerce industry since the early 2000s as a merchant, consultant, and agency manager. Since the early days of Magento, he's seen the potential in Magento's customizable and extendable platform. He currently lives in Huntsville, Alabama, and he'll be talking about enterprise hosting made easy with Magento Commerce. So Gary, I'd like to welcome you to the stage.
All right, thanks, Tim. Well, we're going to move now from tax Nexus to Nexus hosting. And I don't know that I've heard the word Nexus that many times in 15 minutes before in my life, but I have lived some of those problems, Maria, in some of my previous work. So, hey, thanks for the flashbacks. I work with the Nexus partner team, and I work with DCKAP primarily as a partner manager, and together we support customers like Midland Scientific. I was what Rodrigo had to say about his site and the things that they've accomplished with it is really outstanding, really shows up the value of open source software. Midland Scientific began hosting with us. Let me move to my next slide. Midland Scientific began hosting with Nexus in mid-2019 with an extra small cloud plan to begin development work. And they've since scaled up to a larger production instance, but they continue to operate a number of development and staging environments. That's one of the main things I want to talk to you about today is how what they're doing with those development environments differs from the typical progression where we have local environments, which often live on a developer's own machine. We'll briefly talk about the disadvantages of that through various stages, and I'm sure QA and automated testing and so forth that they do together with DCKAP to the live site. And we'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to begin with an overview of the Nexus cloud services that make this setup possible. A few years ago, a typical Magento server setup consisted of one or more physical servers. Rodrigo talked about, the headaches of dealing with hardware. So frankly, whether you're literally on-prem or even if you're using a hosting company like Nexus, in the older days, it was a box, it was a server or a combination of servers like I'm showing on this slide. And they are actually still the right choice in certain circumstances. If you need to do certain things, then this can still be the way to go. We have many customers on them, but increasingly virtualized servers, which we host in our own data centers, allow us to provide highly performant server instances, and they range all the way from extra small, which starts at $49 a month, scaled for about 20 users, all the way up to 2x servers at $849 a month. And those are conservatively scaled for 120 concurrent users, 800 gigabytes of storage, and so on, 32 virtual CPUs, 32 gigabytes RAM. So highly, really, really massively scaled up cloud plans for medium to large businesses. Midland is a company that works actively on their site regularly together with DCKAP, and they have a number of plans deployed both for production and development. So just talk a little bit about concurrent users and scaling a site. Those concurrent users are visitors who are actively clicking, downloading, adding to their cart, that sort of activity. Given that many users arrive at your site and spend time reading content, product descriptions, looking at images that have already been downloaded, the actual number of users that these plans can support can be considerably higher. And for traffic spikes and heavy admin usage, which often occurs, especially in a B2B site, we've got another resource to improve performance, which is auto scaling. Midland's cloud plan that they're on in production allows their site to flex a little when resources are under heavy load. We provide 24 hours of auto scaling at no charge every month, so you don't get a surprise bill when you have those relatively contained periods of auto scaling. For more significant load events like a retailer might see on a Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of situation, we also have advanced auto scaling. Those do carry a cost, but they also allow the merchant to significantly increase their resources at short notice and without incurring long-term contracts or charges like that. Another way we make resources go further, let me pick back up where I'm supposed to be. Another way we make resources go further is the way we containerize resources and set up your development instances in a way that they don't take up any resources from your production environment. Again, thinking back to a traditional server situation, if you set up development instances on that server, you can do it, but you're taking some resources away from production. So if you have a busy day in development at the same time you're having a product launch or something, you may be in a bit of a problem. Our development environments allow you to just add them in a kind of a push button basis at different sizes and scales. We can also extract the data from your production site in case you want to look at that in development. And you can even anonymize that data so that you're not putting confidential customer information on your development site where you have another vector for exposure. Containers are a way that we take certain services and we, again, take those resources where they're not being consumed by the main site. Biggest instance, which is now mandatory for Magento 2.4 and higher editions, is Elasticsearch. Again, now it's required, so everybody needs it. RabbitMQ is another popular container that we have for many customers. It's an open source message broker that helps websites to exchange data between processes, applications, and servers. And that reduces load and delivery times by delegating those tasks to a third party. And Solar and Varnish round that out. Varnish, in particular, acts as a reverse proxy, caches dynamic content. So by provisioning all of these services, dev servers as well as containers with various sizes as needed, we avoid bogging down the cloud server and taking up your main resources that you need for traffic. I mentioned earlier that Midland is using Nexus cloud instances where some development teams might be using local dev branches. When I was with an agency, this was how we did things. We would fire up XAMPP on a laptop or a PC, and we would set up that local branch, and different team members would merge those branches. We'd go to testing, and then we'd take it to production. This requires a high-end machine to do this right. I'm talking to you right now on a basic entry-level MacBook Pro. It's still not a cheap machine, but it doesn't cost nearly $5,000. So when you add the horsepower to a local machine that you need to do this kind of work, you can really run up your costs, and that's not really the least of it. You can also wind up with inconsistencies with the production environment. And another thing that we experienced when I was in the development world is your local environment becoming corrupted, which required often 4 to 6 hours to restore. And you can't always, certainly if you're the merchant, that's just dead cost. And even if you're a development firm like DCKAP, you can't always charge that. By contrast, deploying different cloud plans with Nexus, just adding those $10 development instances allows you to deploy as many as you like. You can anonymize the data, as I mentioned earlier. You can share common services like search. And by doing it this way, you can save time, you can save cost, and you can also spin those up and down. You can destroy them at will if you don't need them anymore. So that's the main things I wanted to cover as far as Nexus hosting when it comes to Midland. Again, they're a great customer. Really happy to be on this panel with everybody. And for a really competitive price, I think Midland has got a hosting setup that allows them to scale up as they need to, depending on their live traffic and development environments. And I look forward to hearing your questions when we get to the panel. And I'll turn it back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for the presentation. That was great. And, it was great to be a part with you guys in the success story for Midland Scientific. And thank you again for all the sponsors from Midland Scientific, from Avalara, from Nexus, Magento, and Chloris. Without you guys, this presentation, this eSession wouldn't be possible. So thank you guys once again for all your help and your contribution to this. And then just mark it on your calendars. The next DCKAP eSession will be on April 13th. And this will be in regards to ADA compliance. So that's another hot issue within the B2B market. So, but that's all I have here. Thank you guys so much for your time. And hopefully you guys have a great day and stay safe out there. So we'll see you guys. Have a good one.